everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my year in review. As I'm coming to you right now from my garage, I'm about 2 weeks out from the end of the year, but it's already that time to start preparing my data collection on dollars spent, miles traveled, trips taken, cars acquired, cars sold, cars restored. It has been a really busy 2023, and I'm glad to have had you along for the ride for this awesome adventure. And by the way, super mega huge thanks for being part of my 15,000 subscribers. I did surpass that milestone here just a couple months ago, and I failed to recognize it, but heartfelt gratitude out to all of you in YouTube land for being part of my communities. I'm going to start this video off with something kind of exciting about a side project. So the B-roll that you saw at the first part here was some cars that are in my backyard. The 88 Legend LS Coupe 5-speed belongs to my friend Chuck. It's pretty rough. Chuck, I love you, but that car doesn't look like much right now, and maybe in the future it will. But it's always fun to have people keeping cars here at the house. I don't mind having parts cars. In fact, sometimes I use those cars for special projects, and so this is one example. All of these late 80s, early 90s Acuras had plugs, most of them anyway, that would cover bumper holes. Those are long since discontinued, along with many parts for these cars as they get older. But I happen to have a cousin who's into 3D printing. So I mailed him the original plugs out of the bumper of that car. Let me see if I can hold it up and show you. Is this even original or a copy? I don't know, because his replica examples are so good. He was able to make these for me, and I'm not planning on marketing or selling them, but just knowing that we have the capability of doing that and being innovative about sourcing parts for these cars, that's part of the joy of the hobby for me. You know, you can't, for most of these restorations I've done, and I talked about in my Q&A recently, you can't just go to an Acura or Honda parts counter and place an order for parts. You need to be thinking outside the box about creating your own products or sourcing them from overseas. I have the 86 Legend that I recently introduced to the channel that I was having the toughest time finding an O-ring for the slave cylinder. Every dealership that has it listed on their parts list will show it available, but as soon as you order it, they cancel your order. But I found the part from a supplier in Europe. It's coming from across the Atlantic, and I also discovered that that part number cross-references to a part number that's still in use for Honda motorcycles. So again, don't give up too early when you reach a roadblock like that about parts sourcing, because sometimes you can find alternative avenues to get you what you need. So along with creating these bumper plugs, Ben sent me something a little bit special, and I'm going to show you right now. And I chose to film this portion in front of the 92 GSR. This car is actually going to the dealership showroom on Sunday. It'll be my last swap of the year. Got to get the Legend Coupe out, put this car in, and let it have its moment again in the spotlight. But look at this 3D printed Integra that Ben made for me. This is my cousin, who's smarter than I'll ever be. But this thing even has my last name, if I can get that to zoom, on the license plate back there. And obviously there's some crudeness to it. It could be painted or finished in proper colors, but my favorite thing about it, I'm gonna have to turn the lights off in here to show you, but it is a night light. Watch this. Okay, I have the light off in the garage, and I have this car sitting on the sunroof of the GSR, but there's a little twist thing on the bottom that it connects to miniature little 3 battery pack in there. And I'm twisting it to turn it on, and okay, it is on. Can you guys see this thing? Okay, so the best part, man, is this even gonna be visible? Look, there is, let's see if I can zoom that. That is my face in the driver's seat of this 3D printed Integra, and look at this, even on the side, there's me. I died when I got this in the mail because it was cool to begin with, but then he said it was a night light, and so I was like, all right, well, I guess I just twist this thing on the bottom. And then lo and behold, there's my face inside this little one-of-one 3D printed Integra Type R. How cool is that? Huge thanks, Ben. That is a piece of memorabilia that will be proudly displayed here in the garage and the showcase. So one other super cool acquisition in scale model form this year anyway was this recent delivery of a Prelude, 3rd gen Prelude, from a friend in Ireland actually. This was posted on a Facebook group and linked to me from a friend, and I've never had a 1/18 scale Prelude until now and was super thrilled to find this. The guy was very cool. He sent it to me overseas. It took less than 10 days I think to get here, which was remarkable, but there's a really cool level of detail there. Obviously there's a few touches that you don't see on the US market Preludes from this era. At least the 88, 89 didn't have color matched side view mirrors. Those would have been black. But otherwise the car obviously is right-hand drive too, but really cool detailed example of the car that really ignited my entire Honda passion over 20 years ago. This next section of the video is for my fellow data geeks in the house. So I'm going to go through a few of the numbers that wrap up this year. It's been a super great year in terms of the YouTube evolution for my channel, and here's some of the stats that back that up. Over 575,000 total views, 37,000 hours watched. I can't imagine who would ever watch me for that many hours, but thank you for that. I did have over 60 uploads, a few other stats here, 16,000 likes, 3,000 comments. My most popular video was about a trip I took about 1,000 miles on a white Integra Type S that I took to Utah. So that was a really fun press car experience. Here's some projects that we completed. The 95 Sherwood Green LS Coupe 6-speed was finished up. We showed that to the original owner earlier this spring. Now I'm just kind of enjoying that car. I ended up showing it at Radwood this fall here in Phoenix. The 02 RSX Type S was also kind of brought back from the dead. That thing was pretty rough to begin with. We showed it to the original owner, and it's now with a collector and his family in Chicago. So super thanks to them for their support. The 06 TSX has also left the fleet. That car, as I said in a prior video, is now in North Carolina. That was also shown to the original owner from Autoblog, James Riswick, who had it for a week and did a story on it. That was a really fun experience. I did also sell the 2002 S2000. I wasn't driving that car a heck of a lot, and a friend who desperately wanted a Rio Yellow Pearl AP2 S2K was after me for it, so I parted ways. I did acquire a couple cars too. The PMC edition, which quote-unquote 2019, it actually looks like a 2020. Super cool car, first of its kind. The Moto Compacto, of course, we love that little scooter. And then the 86 Legend, which is still, as I'm narrating this right now, that car is still at the mechanic getting some service done. Here's some fun trips that we took together. So I went to a Honda Pilot event in Sedona. Got to put the new Trailsport to the test on Broken Arrow Trail, which was rugged and awesome. I went to the ZDX Type S production version unveil in Monterey, California as part of Car Week out there. That was a lot of fun. Went to the Japanese Classic Car Show in Long Beach with the 94 Desert Mist Coupe. That car also went all the way to Kentucky and back for this year's National Acura Legend Meet, or NALM. I raced the NSX for the first time in a half-mile drag race back in October. Entered that car and two others in the Radwood show here in Phoenix. That was the first time we've had a Radwood here in Phoenix. And then I attended the following month in Los Angeles with the NSX. So that was my trips for 2023. On the docket, we have some fun stuff coming up in 2024. I got invited to be part of a 4 or 5 person panel discussion for Barrett Jackson Collector Car Auctions coming up in a couple weeks. That will take place January 23rd. I think it'll wind up on the YouTube channel. I'll post a link to it later after it happens. I still have a Legend in for paint. The Sherwood Green GS 6-speed is getting reworked by my friends at Apex Wetworks. I need to finish the 86 Legend as well. I do plan on attending the usual shows this year. And of course, if those of you who are begging me to get to 600K in the Legend, we'll get ever closer to that. So that's a pretty good wrap up. The next thing we're going to look at is my annual mileage. This is a grid template that I've been using since 2016. Every year at the end of the year, I go around and log the final ending mileage for each of my cars. And just for fun, I like to see what they cost to keep on the road. And here's a look at what the year kind of stacked up as. So anything highlighted orange is a car that I sold. The green are new acquisitions. And of course, notice at the very bottom, I did include the Moto Compacto just for fun. And the blue line there toward the bottom is a press car. I wanted to include that because it was about a 1,000-mile trip. And so even though it's not a car that I own, it was miles that I drove this year. So if you're into this sort of thing, you can pause it and review it and ask questions in the comment section. The big ticket item, as you can see clearly at the top there, I put a lot of money into the high mileage Legend Coupe. That's not necessarily because anything broke down on it or I had any failures, but rather because for many, many years I had been deferring some of the big ticket items on that car, like the timing belt was 12 years old, things like that. So that car, along with some suspension work, a bunch of stuff that really just needed to be done, has now been taken care of. And I don't anticipate needing to do much to that car between now and well into the 600K range. Other than that, everything else you see is kind of self-explanatory. One thing to mention here, the figures here and the dollar amounts do not include anything to do with cosmetics. So paint work, like my restorations, interiors, insurance costs, registration costs, fuel costs, even like replacement headlight assemblies, for part of my restoration. I don't include that stuff. This is strictly mechanical stuff, like keeping the car going. As they say in my business in the IT world, it's keeping the lights on. Basically, making sure these vehicles are reliable and ready for the next trip that I'll take. And here is the trend line. So I used to drive a lot more than I do. I was look in 2016 here, about 60,000 almost per year. Dipped down quite a bit. My low point was during peak COVID, I guess you could say, 21,000 miles in 2020. And I've rebounded just ever so slightly. But I'm kind of at a happy balance right now. The thing with me is I like to drive these cars enough to enjoy them and justify keeping them. Because if you get to a point where you aren't driving a car, then what's the point in even having it? And so you can kind of see here where my focus lies. I really spend the bulk of my time in the Legend Coupe and the ILX because it's just kind of a convenient daily. And I actually put a fair number of miles on the newly restored 95 LS, about 1,300, which I was proud of. That's primarily because I'm trying to sort of shake down the car, I guess you could say, make sure everything's good to go before I leave the country with it or leave the state with it. Couple fun pictures. This was some pre and post of the TSX. That car was a lot of fun to restore. There's before and after. And then also the RSX. This was a before picture and there's an after picture. So super rewarding for me to kind of check those off the list. It's fun to give these cars the love that they might not get in the marketplace otherwise, just in terms of, ending up with someone who didn't really know or appreciate what they were. And much more to come in terms of that sort of thing. So as you know, I'm working on an 86 Legend. We'll finish up the 94 Sherwood Green GS sedan, and we will have a very productive 2024. So thanks for being part of it. This is definitely the best time of year for me for a number of reasons, and one of them is that it's my birthday. So by the time I post this video, it will have already passed, but a few gifts have arrived, including these 3 awesome memorabilia items from my friend Eric. So these are coasters. This one has pictures of a lineup of legends from the National Acura Legend Meet in Kentucky earlier this year. Very cool. This one is a picture of our drive away, caravan from the same meet. You can see my car pictured here. Awesome t-shirt. And best of all, look at this pillow. This has all my favorite people, it says, and of course, in proper form, they aren't even people, it's cars. It's some of the same Acura Legend photos from the other items, including that one right there. That's my old 89 Integra LS Paula Abdul that Eric actually bought from me. So that car at a super good spot and couldn't have gone to a better home. Anyway, huge thanks to Eric for that. A couple other awesome things have already arrived for my birthday. One of them was a happy birthday message and song from a choir group in Wichita, Kansas. So I'll post that video in here for you guys to enjoy, just like I did. Huge thanks also to my friend Aaron from New Zealand, who sent me, via some friends who were visiting in his area, these 3 Honda brochures. These are for, at least for this one here, the model Jazz, called the Jazz, a little compact hatchback that we don't get here in the States. So super cool stuff. Thanks, Aaron. This is a delivery I got from Acura today, and it's a black, kind of classy looking box here with ZDX memorabilia inside. You get going to unpack it here. There's a metal card with a logo on it, and you take this piece up. A couple more things. There's a little wallet sort of portfolio here. There's a Bang & Olufsen speaker. And what I'm going to show you now is we're going to go together and type in, I just found out there's a code on the back of this, ZDX such and such, and we're going to find out what that does when we plug that into the Acura Energy Card website. So it's called the Acura Energy Key Card, and we're gonna navigate here. There's a space where you're supposed to unlock the energy by putting your code in there, and this was more digits than ZDXURA. Let me just type the whole thing and we'll see what happens. This is case sensitive, we'll find out. C4F4. I haven't gone through any of this yet, so we'll kind of experience it in real time. Scroll below to add your perks. Partner perks. Upon reservation of your ZDX, you'll receive a discount code for Topgolf and select products from Bang & Olufsen. All right, discount codes are good. What else is in here? Event perks. When you reserve an all-electric ZDX, you receive exclusive perks for Acura-sponsored events, including Miami Beach, Sundance Film Festival, Grand Prix Long Beach. Cool. What is the energy key? Yeah. It's the key to unlock the energy. It gives you access to exclusive perks and some before the vehicle goes on sale. Each reservation holder will receive a physical stainless steel energy key and a digital key that can be added to their Apple or Google Wallet. I think that's what I have here, is the stainless steel energy key. All right, so wow, next step I guess is I need to reserve a ZDX to cash in on these opportunities. Should I do it? Let me hear what you all think. Huge thanks as always for tuning into the data dump, and I hope you enjoyed it. And there's much more to come on the channel in future years. And wait, what is this thing doing in here? That doesn't look like an Acura. More on that later. Thanks for watching.